What is going on, fellow web developers? My name is Tyler Potts, and in today's video we're going to be building a rock paper scissors app in Vue JS. We're using Tailwind to style it because it's just going to be some simple styling, so we're just going to use some quick classes there. But yeah, we're going to build this rock paper scissors game. Let's just say we choose rock, we use. You pick rock, the computer picked paper. Let's reset. Let's try again. Let's go rock again. Okay, it's really doesn't like it. Rock again. We drew. Rock again. Rock. Yes, we won. I knew if we just kept doing rock, we would win eventually. But you can pick different ones. Paper, we win again. And you get a few different information here. You get this win, draw, and lose score here. And you also get a win rate. So our win rate is only 29% so far, which isn't the worst. Although it's not great, and it's just getting worse as we go along. Rock. See, rock's normally my winner, man. Hey, there we go. We've got rock, paper, and scissors, and we've gone paper, and we beat the rock. There we go. So guys, that is what we're going to be building in this video. I hope you're excited. If you are, don't forget to leave a thumbs up and subscribe. And without further ado, let's continue on with the rest of this video. Okay guys, so we are left with a blank folder here. I've just created a random folder and opened it up in Visual Studio Code. And what we're going to do is we're going to start off by running a command in our terminal. Let's just close this side panel real quick. And what we're going to do is say npm create feat at latest dot template, and we're going to use Vue. So what we're saying here is we're going to create a feat app we're obviously using Vue JS, and we're going to create it in the current directory. So we're saying here create a feat app, use the current directory, and then run the Vue, use a Vue template. So there we go. So hit enter, and that's going to create our folders and all of that in there. We need to give it a name. Let's just say RPS rock paper scissors, and there you go. So we've got that there. Next thing we can do is say npm I tailwind css. We also need to do -d because these are development. We're going to say post CSS and auto prefixer. We're going to hit enter, and that should hopefully install that for us. Okay, now that's done, what we want to do is say npx tailwind css init -p. So what it's going to do, it's going to create a tailwind config and a post CSS config. The -p just the post CSS part, and obviously init is for tailwind. And there we go. So let's run that, and that should create us two configs on the left here, post CSS and tailwind config. Now what we want to do is we want to go into our source folder, create a new file, call it main.css. And we just want to basically paste in some things here. So you're going to have @tailwind base, @tailwind components, and @tailwind utilities. Hit save, and we can close that folder. What we then want to do is we want to go to tailwind.config.js, and in here, inside of content, we want to add a couple of things. We want to say we've got to look at the .index.html file, which is right here. And then we also want to look at any Vue files in our source. So we want to say /source. We're going to say any folder in there, and then any file with .js. Well, we want to say here we're going to give a few. So we're going to say .js, Vue.js, .ts, JSX, or just TSX. For this, we're actually only going to need Vue files, but we'll just have all of these just so you can see if you use a different file, for example, a JavaScript file like this one. And there you go. So we've got that, and that should now work. So let's close this. Let's delete this components. Let's delete the assets. And in app, let's just remove this import. We're going to remove the script here too. I'm just going to have a H1 that just says hello world, and I'm going to delete this whole style block down here for now. And there you go. So what I want to do is I'm going to close that sidebar, and in the bottom here I'm going to say npm run def, and that's going to run us our development server, which we can open up on localhost. And there you go. But you can see here Tailwind is not working, and that is because we need to go into our main.js and import the CSS file. So we want to say import ./main.css. And that should now, have actually added our default. So there you go. You can see the font has changed. It's gone back to default, or resetted itself. And there you go. So that is all set, ready to go. Good, so let's go back here, let's close that sidebar, and we can also close this bar here. Okay guys, before we write any code, I just want to show you that I'm going to be pasting in some assets here, which are just free icons. These icons were got from Vecteezy. The link will be in the description of the video. It's also inside the repository, and inside it will be inside of the actual repo in the Git as well, so you can find those assets here if you want these icons as well. So I just wanted to let you know that I was pasting those in there. So what we want to do is inside of script, we just want to import a few things. We want to import ref, we want to import computed, and we want to import on mounted from Vue JS. Now after this, we want a reference to our wins, obviously set at 0 by default, our losses, and our draws. And I kind of want it wins, draws, losses. There we go. Once we've got that, we also want a reference for our choice. This is going to be the choice we choose. We're then going to have our computer choice and our verdict. So let's say verdict, which is just going to be the text we display on screen if we win, lose, or whatnot. We then want to have some outcomes. So let's say const outcomes, and we're going to set this equal to an object. Now this is going to say rock, and inside of here we could have rock first. So here, let me just explain what's going on here. So rock, if rock hits a rock, it's a draw. If the chooses goes up against paper, it loses, and if rock goes up against scissors, it wins. So we're then going to do paper, and there you go. There you can see it wins against paper, it wins, it draws against that, and it loses against scissors. And finally, if we do scissors, you could see it's going to be rock, it loses against paper, it wins, and scissors is a draw. And they're the outcomes we want. We then want a function called play. So let's say play is equal to C, and this is just choice. We're going to pass through our choice in here. We want to say choice.value is equal to C, because we're going to want to display this later on. We then want to give our computer some choices. So let's just say choices is equal to rock, paper, or scissors. We can then say const random is equal to math.floor times 3, or to make, if you wanted to add more choices and options, you could also say dot length here, and that will cover all your choices here. So this will be the random for choices. Then we can say computer choice is equal to choices random, and that's going to give us a random either rock, paper, or scissors. We then want the outcome, so we're going to say const outcome is equal to outcomes C, and in here we can say computer choice dot value, and this is basically just going to give us our outcome, so who wins and who loses. So we just want to do a couple. We could do a switch statement here, or we could do a if statement. For this, we're just going to do an if, and here you can see if the outcome is equal to win, that means our win values goes up. If it's equal to loss, it means our losses go up, and if it's otherwise, it means we drew, and there we go, we will get a draw. We also want to go in here and say verdict.value is equal to you win. So this is going to be the message we get once if we win. We're then also going to go in here and say you lose, and this one will be you. It's going to say it is a draw. Just like that, and there you go. So they're the different options you can get. You can change your message. You can do random messages if you want to, kind of how we do the random choice up here. Give a bunch of choices and let it randomly pick it. And there you go. And then we're going to do save game. Now this is going to be a feature we have here. So we're going to say save game is just going to be equal to an arrow function. And it's just going to do this. Local storage dot set item wins is equal to wins.value. Draws will be equal to our draws.value, and our losses will be equal to our losses.value. We can then create a function called load game, which will basically do the opposite thing. It will just set our wins, draws, and loses there. Now we can actually, I'm going to do this underneath our outcomes, and I'm just going to say const win percentage. And this is going to be equal to a computed value, because we're going to be needing to see changes. And we're just going to say const total is equal to wins.value plus draws.value plus loss.value. So we're going to add up all of the plays. This will be how many games we've played in total. We can then return total. So if there is a total, we're going to say wins.value divided by total times 100, and that's going to give us a percent. So to do percentage, you need to get your value, the current number you have, divide it by how many in total there is, and then times it by 100. Otherwise, we're just going to pass back 0. So if we haven't got a total, meaning these are all set to 0 or not working, we're just basically just going to say it's set to 0 by default. And then we just want to do one last function here, and this is going to be resetting our game. So we're going to say reset round is equal to, so once we've played our hand, we just want to say choices.value is null, computer choice is null, and verdict is equal to null as well. So the last thing we need to do is we need to be able to reset our round quickly with some sort of button, because we don't want to have to keep clicking the button every time. Let's say we want to set it to a key press such as R for reset. We want to do that, and we also want to set our load game. So we want to be able to call our load game, and that's where our on mounted function comes in. You can see here we're going to load game. We're also going to say window.addEventListener of key press, and if we get a key press, what we want to do is say if e.key is equal to R, then we want to, well, that's actually really cool. We could do that as well, as in play the key by what we press. But for now, we're just going to say reset round. And that is just going to reset the game for us once we press R. So now we've got all that, it's time to actually get set up on our thing. So if we go back here to our game, we're not going to have anything. We can open up terminal and see we've got some losses, which we did in the thing. So if we just delete all these, refresh, there you go, they're all gone now. So we have nothing in there. And now in here, we want to start off with a diff. The diff will have a class of background gray 700, text white, text center, and min height screen. We then want to set it to be flex and flex cull, because we want it all to actually, we want it all to be in some sort of grid here. We then want to create a header, and inside of our header we're going to have the class of container, mx auto to bring it to the center, and padding of 6 to bring some padding around. We then just want a H1 in here that says rock, paper, scissors. I'm going to give this a class of text 4XL font bold. So let's just have a look what that looks like. That looks like that. That's pretty good. Looks decent. That's what we'll stick to. So the next thing we want to do is we want to set up our actual main area where we're going to play the game. So this is going to be our main. In here we're going to have the same classes as above, as container, mx auto, and padding 6. This is just going to be our basic default container. But we also want to set flex 1 to make it stretch the entire screen, because here we set the flex to be cull. This will allow it to stretch the rest of the screen. We then want a diff, and we want to say phi if. We want to say phi if choice is equal to null. So if the choice is null, that means nothing. That means we haven't made a choice yet, meaning the game is ready to play and we need to pick. So here we're just going to say our class equal to flex items center justify center and minus mx6 to bring everything to the center. Now we want to create 3 buttons here. I'm going to create the first button. I don't know why it's capitalized. There we go. And we just want to say at click is going to be equal to play rock. We don't want to give this a class, which I'm going to break this down to make it easier. We'll give this a class, and we're going to set this equal to background white rounded full, so it's going to be a circle. We're going to give it a bit of a shadow large with a width of 64 and a padding of 12. MX6, transition, and we can say colors, because we only need the transition for colors. And we want to set that transition duration to 300, and we're going to set this one to be hover background pink 500. Now in here we want to use an image. That's not quite what we want, but we want to say assets / rock icon.svg, and we just want to give it a width of full, like that. So let's have a look what this looks like. There you go, you see we've got rock here. So let's copy this a couple more times. 1, 2, and this one will be paper. We want to set this to also be paper, and same here. And we want to change the hover for this to be a green, because we want them to be different. We want them to look different. This one's going to be yellow. And we want to change this to scissors. Copy, scissors, and this will be scissors there as well. Go back, and there you go. We've got 3 different items here we could select. And that's how we've got the buttons looking. So underneath the buttons, underneath this div, we want to say another div, and this one's just going to say fee else. So this is going to be if we've already played, then we want to give our options. So we want to create a div with the text of 3XL. We also want to give it a margin bottom of 4. And we want to say you picked, and then we're going to do a span with the class of text pink 500. And inside of here, we're just going to say our choice. So this is going to give us our choice. And we can do this in a separate div. So let's just steal this quickly. Copy, paste, and this will say the computer picked. And this one will be, let's say, green. And this will say computer choice. Then finally, we just want to go under here and we want to give the verdict. So we want to say diff. We can do a class of, so we want this to be bigger. So we say text 6XL to make it a lot bigger, and then MB12 to push the button down. We then just want to pass through our verdict there, and that's going to tell us who won and what happened. Now finally, we're just going to have a button which says reset. This is going to be click is equal to reset round. And then we're just going to give it a class. Now the class is just going to have a background pink. Oh, pink 500, text large, padding Y of 2, and a padding X of 4. So this, again, just basic styling here. So let's go back to our game and have a look. So now we just have rock, paper, scissors. So let's pick one. Let's say we pick rock. It says you picked rock, the computer picked rock. It's a draw. Now, if we can click this reset button, but what we can also do is hit R on our keyboard. So I'm just going to hit R, and there you go. You can see it reset. Let's say we select paper, and it goes you lose. We can also select this button for it to reset. Let's just make sure scissors works as well. So let's just click scissors. It goes you pick scissors, the computer picked rock, you lose. I'm pretty sure this computer is cheating. But anyway, let's go back in here and go under this div again. Now this is where we want to do our, we want to just say, just create a new div. We want to give it a class of MT12, text 3XL and MB4. Now this is going to be where our wins, our wins, draws, and losers are displayed, or losses. We then want one more div underneath, and this is just going to have a class of text large, and this is going to be our win rate or our win percentage. So what we want to do is say math.round, because we want it to make sure it's rounded to the nearest integer, and we can say win percentage and then pass through our percent there as well. Hit save, go back to our app, and there you go, you can see here. But for some reason our wins is null. Now why is our win set to null? I don't actually know. Let's figure that out. Let's have a look in here. Wins is set to null in here, which is probably where we're getting an error because we haven't won one yet. So how do we fix that? We can say here, wins, local storage, get item. We can then say or 0, or 0, because if this comes back, it's going to set it to null, and I think that's what's happened. So let's reset our scores here. Let's say F12, delete, 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 refresh. There we go. Refresh, that's now it says 0, 0, 0. If we, let's say, just play 1, you win, reset, let's do one more, you win again, let's just refresh. There you go, you can see the 2 zeros don't get nullified. Let's do F12, and you can see they're just set to 0, that's perfect. So let's just do this, let's select this one. How do I keep winning? What is going on? Also, my win rate doesn't seem to be working correctly. You see we're getting a 1%. And that's because I think these are also being set as null. So let's have a look at that. So up here we got wins, total wins. So if, I see what's happening. Because this is probably going to 0.1, let's have a look. Let's just log our total and our wins.value. I just realized that's probably a bad idea. That's not going to log it properly. You see it's getting 0.001, which is actually correct, but it's not timesing it by 100 correctly, and I think that's where the issue is coming. So if we refresh 0.01, if we then go times by 100 and we make sure this is inside here, we're getting 1 there, which is correct. That's how it should be, because it's going 0.01. But that means this is wrong. So we get 3 and 300, which is incorrect. We do not have 3. So I know what's happening here. We need to do one more thing. This is actually adding a number to this. So how we fix this is remove this. Let's go down to when we load our things from storage. So here, and we want to say pass int. We want to make sure we're getting an integer back and not a, we don't want a string, because get item will always get you a string. So we need to convert that back into a number. So now we go back and we refresh. You can see our win rate is now 100% and it's working correctly. So there you go. Everything is now working as it should. We have our win rate. We can now play the game. I've won 4 times in a row. I gotta stop. I'm on a win rate. Oh, it's a draw, damn it. I thought I was getting really lucky, and it's enough a draw. Okay, we're going downhill. This is why you stop while you're ahead. Yep, it's just getting worse. Look, I mean, we won again. There we go. So it's looking pretty good. There you go. So you can see 733. I'll take that. 54% win rate. I'm amazing at this game. It's definitely not rigged. But guys, yeah, so that's how you build a rock, paper, scissors game. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, do not forget to leave a thumbs up. Also, if you're new around here and you like coding, you want to learn how to code, you like Vue JS, you like React, you like JavaScript, you like PHP, you like any programming language, feel free to drop me a subscription, a subscribe. It really helps the channel out, and I'm trying to hit 40k. We're almost there, so feel free to, you know, just tap it, help me out. But anyway, guys, thank you for watching this video, and I will see you in the next one. Peace out.